Guys, what is up? My name is PandaMaster, and welcome to my spoiler-free review of Episode 7 of WandaVision. Apologies for being so late. I was away for the weekend, otherwise I would have done it over the weekend, and then I just have been busy, as always, you know the vibes. But let's talk about Episode 7. So, So I know there's going to be a lot of big WandaVision fans that are going to be mad at me, but I thought this episode was okay. It kind of was getting back to the part, and I saw some people like that felt the same way I did, so that's why I feel more comfortable sharing this. I'm like, instead of being like, did I miss something? Is something just not clicking with me? But I feel like this is similar to my thoughts on like the first 3 episodes, where the pacing is just sort of like, this definitely feels like a setup episode. This feels like, they are trying to honestly just kind of drag this out a little bit, which is interesting because a lot of the MCU shows we're getting are like 6 episodes, or just basically not 9, right? Like this has a bigger number of episodes. Now, to be fair, I believe most of those shows are going to be like 45-minute, hour-long episodes, whereas this show started out with 30-minute episodes, which I made a tweet. I made a WandaVision meme about the whole, which I've been reminded over and over and over again that he didn't actually say it, but we thought he did for a while. But about Kevin Feige saying the last 3 episodes of WandaVision will be an hour, and then the Tyler the Creator meme of, well, that was an effing lie, and it did well. it kind of blew up, and yes, that was interesting. But even though, like I said, there were many people that had to clarify that he didn't actually say it, but I'm still famous, so I don't know what you're talking about. But I don't think that, well, to be fair, like a point being gotten to, I don't know what's up with me today. Probably sleep deprivation. I don't know. I'm just a crackhead. But this was a 30-minute episode. It was not an hour. That kind of sucks. The big thing that people were focusing on is that 6 hours is the entirety of the series. That I believe it was the showmaker said. Forget what's his name. I don't remember, honestly. Who the hell is running this? I don't think it was either of these guys. Jacqueline Schaefer. Maybe she said it. I don't remember who said it, but somebody close to the project said that it was 6 hours was the entirety of it. So maybe they're going by that. Maybe each MCU show they have planned is like, okay, 6 hours. That's how long you get. Have at it. And so don't get me wrong, I still really love WandaVision in its totality, but I think there's a lot of pacing issues that I'm worried and not worried about, because on one hand, this is their first show, like their first real attempt at making a TV show within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes, I know that there was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter and what was the other one? The really bad one. I want to say Immortals. That's not right. Inhumans. There we go. I love the Inhumans in the comics, so that kind of pained me that I couldn't remember what they were. The comics are really good, but I know that those exist, but those were, I mean, honestly, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has some really good moments, but other than that, like, they weren't true MCU TV shows like what we have with WandaVision and what we're going to have going forward, right? And so this is their first foray into that. So, and on one hand, I'm kind of giving them a little slack, because it's like, I feel like this is kind of their test, similar to like Mando. I think the second act of the first season of The Mandalorian was like pretty meh, and I think that the whole point of the first season was basically to kind of test the waters and see what people wanted more of, what people liked, what people didn't, that sort of thing. And so I don't know if this is necessary. I don't know if they're necessarily doing that here. I really think this is kind of a passion project, just based on how weird and, off the beaten track the show is in terms of its tones and storytelling devices, which I really like. I am here for the superhero genre being experimented with, because otherwise it's getting very, very stale. Like Thor Ragnarok is one of my favorite MCU movies because it breaks the mold of the MCU formula of action-oriented, very dramatic with occasional comedic relief films that, they're pretty dark until Disney got a hold of it. Then they got really light, but then dark stuff happens, but then they try to cover it up with light stuff. Not that there isn't any of that in Thor Ragnarok, but Thor Ragnarok is literally just a buddy cop movie, and it's so great. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. I am all here for MCU experimenting because I think that's how they keep the superhero genre alive. As someone who loves the superhero genre, and it's one of my favorite genres. I'm 100% biased. Like, I love superheroes. So as someone who doesn't want to see it die and was very concerned about how the MCU would continue post Endgame, I'm excited that this is the route we're going. And in a sense, I'm honestly kind of concerned for Falcon and Winter Soldier, as it does seem to be the traditional action-oriented MCU project. However, this being their first TV show like that, I think there's still plenty of room for originality there. And I'm just excited because there seems to be a lot of cool stuff coming there. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I kind of am giving WandaVision some slack, as, this is very experimental, and this is their first MCU television project. But also, I say that, but also want to make it very clear that there are some definite pacing issues going on in this show. And I mean, if you look at it, even if you say, okay, well, there's more episodes because some of the episodes are shorter and they wanted the 6 hours. Even if you had them as longer episodes, you'd still have that pace. Like, we're still dealing with the same amount of time, however they wanted to do it. So I still think there are some pacing issues going on here. And, again, I'm pretty confident in attributing it to this being, their first shot at this, right? I think it will definitely improve. But, Iron Man kicked it, knocked it, whatever you want to call it, out of the ballpark. And it's on his first try. And so, the MCU, they've certainly had their misses, of course. But they don't miss often. And so I think this is semi-concerning. I know the Wanda fandom are going nuts for this show. And again, I want to say, like, overall, I would say the show in general is a solid 8 out of 10. It got off to a kind of slow start, but then episodes 4 through 6 are just absolutely chef's kiss phenomenal. And now we're just kind of getting back into a lull. I'm sure this episode is the season is going to end on a really strong note. I assume the 8th episode will be very good, and the 9th, I don't expect much less than high quality from these last 2 episodes. So I'm not necessarily worried about the ending of this series. I just think that there definitely could be, some pacing stuff resolved, and hopefully they, get to that. But let's talk about some other stuff. Paul Bettany, just so good. I'm very curious to figure out what they're going to do with Vision post this, show. We learned some stuff that have kind of, it allows for theories in this episode. But overall, I mean, as we learned last episode, Vision can't survive outside of the Hex. And so maybe there's some way for Wanda to make it to where that isn't the case anymore. Like, maybe that is, maybe he is able to be alive, but Wanda is making it so he can't be outside of the Hex, although I very much doubt that. But, maybe there's a way for him to come back. But even if is that something we necessarily want? You know, do we want basically a retcon of all the stuff that happened? Because I think that would be detrimental to both of their characters. Now, first off, I want to say I love the character development that's happening with Vision in this show, which is completely bonkers, because it's like basically they hit the reset on his character, and you know, in the end it's probably not going to matter because he's dead. But I think it will much more benefit Wanda's character development if he doesn't stay alive, as much as that saddens me, because I feel like, you know, a core theme of this show is, you know, being able to move on and move forward, right? And Wanda is not doing that. She sure as hell is not doing that. So, you know, as cheesy as it is, not that I don't think the show is cheesy by any means, but you know, one of the underlying themes is that about, you know, coping with loss and that sort of thing. And so I'm hoping that this episode at least gets us in that spot. Teyona, forgive me if I mispronounce, but Teyona Paris, Monica Rambeau, one beautiful woman, beautiful. I say this respectfully, like, don't read into that more than what I'm saying right now. Beautiful woman, absolutely killed it this episode. She's done a great job this entire series, but you know, especially this episode, just really killed the performance. Elizabeth Olsen, I think did a really good performance. Something is bugging me about her, and I can't put my finger on it. I don't want to go on for too much longer, but I don't know. I guess I don't like seeing her as a villain type. I don't know if that's what it is. I just don't think she conveys that great, which is interesting because when we first were introduced to her in Age of Ultron, she was a villain, you know? And so I don't know necessarily why I'm feeling that way, but I'm really not digging her hostile Wanda vibes. I don't know. It's weird. Like, you know, any confrontation with other characters, it's just, and not that the acting itself isn't good. I don't know. It just feels weird, and I don't know how to put it, and in better ways than that. But Evan Peters, I'm very confused as to what's going on with him right now, but I'm interested to learn more. Everybody's going nuts for Kathryn Hahn. I think she's a great actress, and I think she absolutely killed. I don't think I was as impressed as a lot of other people were with her performance this episode. You know, people were like very much mind blown by the events that occurred. If you've seen the episode, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I wasn't so much, not in the sense of like, you know, I understand what you guys think I'm saying, but I'm talking about her performance herself, like itself. You know, I didn't think there was anything necessarily mind blowing, but she does a great job. And someone on my Twitter recommended that I will also relay, because I second it, is to watch Parks and Rec if you haven't already, because she's a recurring character, and I don't know, it's about like maybe halfway through the series, maybe a little further in, I think for a few seasons, and she absolutely kills it. Just I love Kathryn Hahn in general, and so yeah, really great job this episode. Love the cast, you know, the visual effects and everything, super great, super awesome. I'm definitely really excited to see how this goes. I just hope that in the future, you know, again, these pacing issues should be resolved, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But let me know what you guys thought of this week's episode of WandaVision down in the comments. Like this video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys next time for whatever it is I'm doing. Hey, see ya.